Yep.
Yeah, well, right now I want to save the United States, and we can help the rest of them after. But we have to be concerned with the United States right now. I liken it to being on an airplane that's lost its pressure. When the oxygen mask drops, you have to put yours on first before you can help anybody else, because you're not going to do anybody any good if you're passed out.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Well, thank you, Scotty, for calling in. Okay.
Yeah, as far as Africa, there's a lot going on in Africa, by the way. There's more than meets the eye. There's all kinds of money. There's all kinds of scams going on. You know what Africa has? They have fertile land. They have multiple natural resources like oil and rare earth metals, iridium, things like diamonds, gold. So there's a tug of war going on over there, and not everything is what it looks like it is. We've done some studies on that, too.
Hey,
and if you go to the basis of it, you'll find corporations behind most of it.
Absolutely. You'll find a lot of Soros and a lot of the British Crown.
Welcome back, Freedomizers. This is Teatro with Freedom Reigns, and my co-host, very honored to have her, Joanne Moretti, and our guest, Drake. Joanne, I'm going to let you go ahead and pick up there where I interrupted you.
All right. Well, you know, this is getting to be where we have to come up with something we as citizens are going to do. And we have to pull it together. We are out of time. Now, Drake, you say that some things are in motion, and I want to believe that with all my heart. And I have seen some movement. So, you know, I do see some. I have to give you that. I've seen some people being questioned and stuff, but nobody's gone to jail. Our Congress people, Congress and Senate, what's their deal? You know, I mean, the Constitution has provisions for us to get rid of them. If they are not going to step up and adhere to the oath that they took, what are they still doing there? We don't need them. And we better have other people in their place. See, we're not anti-government. We are anti-illegal and corrupt government. Our Constitution is our guiding document, and we can't be letting people tell us it's a fluid document or a living document. No, it isn't. If it was living, they would have killed it a long time ago. So that's out of the question. But, you know, even on the White House website, they have changed the Second Amendment. Now, the Second Amendment says that it's the right of the citizenry to have a well-regulated militia and the right to bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed. However, on the White House website, it says the Second Amendment gives you the right to bear arms. It doesn't give you any rights. The Constitution does not give you your rights. The Constitution protects your rights from the government. See, that's the difference. If they can get you to believe that the government gives you your rights, then they can get you to believe the government can take your rights away. So we got to put a stop to all of this. We got to put a stop to these executive orders and these czars. And I am so sick of politicians coming out and telling us, oh, this one did that and that one did this. Well, you know what? I have a question, too. What are you going to do about it? And if they're not going to do anything about it, why do we still even bother with these people?
Well, my position on that is very simple. I've taken a combination of a variety of several different actions, and it will be probably Monday or Tuesday before you start seeing some of the results of them. I would hope and have hoped that some of the people that were supposedly backing us would have taken their actions considerably sooner than what we're seeing now in terms of sitting here waiting. I initiated my own actions through my own groups, and there is a combination of both awareness, a fairly decent structure, and chain of command, and they have, in their various areas, selected certain individuals to replace those who are in office. That's part of the underground plan that the military may not be aware of, which is fine with me. The crux of it is that there's a lot more structuring, a lot more activity, and a whole lot more things going on than anybody is going to be able to spot. These people that are doing these things are extraordinary professionals, and by that I mean I put them against any top of the line from anywhere else.
Drake, Joanne, we have another caller.
Okay,
sure. Are you ready? Okay. Our caller we have now is Dan. And Dan, you're with us, I hope. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you are open.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, good to be here. You're absolutely right what you said about the White House website. That's incorrect, and you are absolutely correct what you said. And what hit me was mentioned before, and just now you mentioned again, is what kind of plan is there? What can people do? And I've been writing recently on certain parts of the Constitution, and I've become expert enough in certain aspects of it to be soon I'm going to be publishing. And and also what hit me was that you're addressing all military, especially in light of the newest two executive orders. Okay, well, it's Article 1, Section 8. They mentioned three parts to the military.
Okay.
The Army, the Navy, and the militia of the several states.
Okay.
It actually mentions the militia of the several states. That phrase is actually mentioned under Article 2 under presidential power, when it talks about him being commander-in-chief of the Army and the Navy and the militia of the several states when in actual service of the United States. So I don't know if you're all familiar with the newswithviews.com website. Many people publish on there. And I don't know if you're all familiar with Dr. Edwin Vieira Jr. and his book, published in 2007, Constitutional Homeland Security. And that's
I'm not familiar, but I do know of News with Views.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Vieira started publishing their short commentaries in 2005, and that's when he first started talking about revitalizing, along strict constitutional lines, the militia of the several states. Now, my experience in 2009 with the state legislature here in Massachusetts was that I was able to lead a group of citizens to defeat a bill that had already passed the Mass Senate 36-0, unanimous. But we ended up beating the bill for 6 months lobbying the House. That was a public health emergency bill that right after the swine flu scare in 2009, the Mexican swine flu scare, the World Health Organization had went up to a level 6, and it ended up all being a false flag, basically. But a lot of states were trying to pass a bill through. So I know that things can get done when people get together, and we had a lot of citizens across the whole state of Massachusetts up there at the State House lobbying. You can get things done through the states. Now, the militia of the several states is a state institution, and when Congress fails, it's up to the states to pick up the dormant clauses in the Constitution and revitalize them. And that militia of the several states is composed of, and there's many of the Federalist Papers, the ratifying conventions, it's composed of the people of the several states. Everybody, we the people of the several states, which is a phrase used also in Article 1. So that's where the power right now to do that right now sits with 7,300 plus state legislators. And
I know of one group.
Yes.
I know of one group. It's called Watchmen of America.
Okay.
And they have them in each state. And they're a legitimate militia. But I would suggest getting in touch with them at least. But you know what, Dan, you're right. There's a lot more that we can do.
Yeah, I'm not talking about. Private groups that call themselves militia, I don't get involved with them.
Yeah, no, these aren't a militia. These are state sanctioned. Actually, they're a legitimate group of citizens. They're not.
Right.
They're not exactly a militia.
Right. Well, what I'm talking about is along the lines of what our Constitution is very, very similar to what the Swiss have had all along. That every person, when they turn 18, goes to camp, they get trained, and then when they're done, they're all issued an automatic infantry rifle and ammo, enough to get them in an emergency, to get them from their home to the local barracks or armory. And,
isn't that what Israel does?
I don't know too much about Israel, but I think there's mandatory military service. I do know that, but I don't know if everybody is part of an active militia after they get out. That may be true. I don't know.
It's a reserve system that runs to a certain age. It's very similar to what the Israelis have, where you have citizen soldiers, so to speak. The difference between what you're talking about and the people I deal with is that I'm dealing with what's called the unregulated states militia. That is a people's militia. It is not under the authority of the federal government. It's under state authority, and the commander of each state is allowed to make determinations that can go contrary to what the governor might want to have done. Right. So,
interesting.
What I've found so far is that each state has something along the lines of a minimum of 200 to 500 active people in unregulated militias, and these people may be part of a regular militia, reserve. They could be the local sheriff. You don't know who they are, and it's nice. So in that way, in that nobody really knows who everybody is. There is a contact system that's been set up where each and every one of the people involved can be contacted and respond within about 15, 20 minutes. This happened out in New Mexico a couple of different times in different counties out there. The gist of this is that these are common everyday people. They work for a living, have farms or whatever, and they understand what's going on, at least in basic, in terms of the attempted usurpation, taking of our rights, etc., that's been going on. And this body of individuals spread throughout the country are the ones that have basically agreed upon someone to temporarily fill offices when the offices are vacated en masse. This way we will maintain to some extent the continuity of what we have until such time as it can be changed for the better. And this is basically the idea.
Dan, did that answer your question?
Oh, no, I mean, Dr. Vieira has investigated these kinds of structures in all the 50 states, and there isn't any state that has an operational constitutional militia along strict constitutional lines. There's some state defense forces set up that are separate from the state guards, the state National Guard, and there's like Ohio has a naval militia. They're unarmed and so forth and so on. But, on the lake, Ohio being on the lake there. But what I'm talking about, where everybody has a rank, everybody belongs to a local company, in case of an emergency, something goes down, just like what went down in Lexington and Concord, 1775. They were all ready to go. They all gathered together because they were organized. They all had ranks. They all had discipline. They were all properly armed and accoutered. Everybody was required to be armed. If you were fined if you weren't properly armed. And so that's what the movement to revitalize these dormant clauses in the Constitution, in my opinion,